How can you be unshakable? How can you build rock solid confidence? This is one of the core topics that people come to see me for as a coach, to build confidence, to build self-trust, and to overcome self-doubt. This is something I've also personally dealt with. I've also overcome imposter syndrome, or at least deal with it. And there is a lot of misconceptions. There are a lot of misconceptions when it comes to confidence. So in this episode, I'm going to break down the different misconceptions, but also what you can actually do to build this rock solid confidence. Some of the misconceptions are the fact that we believe that confidence is an innate trait. We think that this is something that some people seem to just have. You might see someone speak on a stage, or an influencer, or some celebrity, and you just think they're naturally confident and they were able to have this confidence gene. They were lucky at the gene lottery and they had this confidence ability. So they just always believe in themselves. If you think of people like Steve Jobs or Oprah Winfrey or Tony Robbins or whoever it is, it's natural to believe that they were somehow confident in and of itself without any external input, without anything happening. And we might think of ourselves as not confident as a deficiency. Like, why is it that I'm not more confident? And how could I suddenly become it? And there are a lot of fast facts online that don't really help. When you use things like affirmations, I'm confident, I'm strong, I can do this. But if you don't have any tangible proof, your brain will start to think, well, but I'm not. I didn't stand up for myself in that meeting, and I didn't say that, and I didn't speak to that stranger when I felt like saying hello. I'm not confident. And your brain will find proof to prove that you're not. So even though you're using affirmations, or you're journaling about it, or you're trying to convince yourself, it doesn't work because your brain doesn't see this as true and tangible. The way to pivot from this misconception to turn confidence into reality is to give your brain proof. And the way you give your brain proof is simply by taking action. The more action you can add up, the more your brain will start to see evidence. If you're able to build this self-trust just by taking small actions every single day consistently, your brain will start to think, you are able to do this. And you'll become more confident in one area, and this will translate then into other areas. For instance, if you build confidence by going regularly to the gym and you become more confident as someone that exercises and works out, then you will be maybe more confident running your own company because you will have learned the self-trust from going to the gym regularly. And then you can just apply this and take all those mini actions and apply it into the business. Essentially, confidence comes from action. It comes from momentum, and it comes from giving your brain the proofs that what you're actually doing is leading somewhere. As long as you just think about stuff and you just try and reframe it and use affirmations and change your perspective and learn about things passively, you won't feel that confidence because you're not seeing it translated into real outcomes and real results. And that gap is the actions that you're taking. And I'm speaking from experience because when I started speaking on stages or as a keynote speaker, I didn't feel confident particularly, but then I practiced. I was part of a Toastmaster group. I was going every week and talking on stage there. And then I started the podcast and I did a lot of different episodes and I interviewed people and I did some online workshops and I did different Zoom calls. And the more actions you take, the more your brain then believes, you are capable of doing this. And every time my confidence would fluctuate and every time I would feel uncertain, maybe before giving another keynote on stage, I would remember the past times that I had overcome it. So it's perfectly natural to have an initial imposter syndrome and fear when you're doing something new, when you're doing something outside of your comfort zone, because your brain has no evidence that it will work. This is when it gives you fear and prevents you from taking that action. And that's why it's so important to first break it small. If it's speaking on stage, it might just be doing a brief stand up for yourself within a meeting context or briefly saying something important to someone you meet and just vaguely standing up for yourself first. If it's in another area, if it's a gym or exercise, it's just starting with a 5-minute workout, a 10-minute workout, just starting very, very small so that you can start to prove to yourself that you are able to be consistent, that you are taking action, that you're getting results. And I really find that the gym analysis is so helpful because as you build physically and you become strong physically through exercise, you become stronger mentally. And when you're stronger mentally, it's easier to overcome the resistance that often shows up when you're taking actions outside of your comfort zone. So if you're able to push yourself to do a 5K run or a 10K run or much more, then it'll be so much easier when at work you need to reach out to somebody that you want to have as a podcast guest, or to reach out to a potential client or potential opportunity, because your brain has learned to deal with discomfort. Confidence comes from your mastery of discomfort. If you're able to master discomfort, to deal with the fear that shows up every time you're going to take that small action outside of your comfort zone, to take that action and you do it again and again, and you practice and you put in the reps. Said earlier that confidence is a muscle, it's something you train. So if each time you take in action, even when you don't feel like it, even though it's scary, even though you're not sure what the outcome will be, but you just practice and you repeat it again and again and again, after a while your brain will think, we've got this. It's not so scary to talk on stage. It's not that hard to speak to a stranger. It's not that difficult to give a compliment to this woman I've just met, because you've done it before and you're able to just say it and do it again. And sometimes it might still feel slightly more discomforting. Sometimes you might feel a bit more tired or have a bit more self-doubt because it comes back, because you're human. But when that happens, you'll have all that proof in the back of your mind of the other times where you managed. Your job is to seek that evidence. Find that evidence that you can do it. And you find that evidence by taking those actions. You showed up once, therefore you can show up again. You took that micro action there, therefore you could take it again, or maybe a slightly bolder action, and then a bolder one, and then a bolder one. And also, no comparison here. We're each on a different journey. For some people, it might be more comfortable to talk on stage or easier to speak to a stranger, but they might really struggle with spending a few hours on their own, because they might be really extroverted and struggle with alone time. Or maybe it's very easy for someone to run half a marathon or a marathon. I don't know if it's very easy for anybody, but maybe it's slightly easy for someone to run a half marathon or marathon. And maybe for you, just doing that first 1 kilometer or 2 kilometer because you haven't run in years is super challenging, and that's okay. The aim here isn't to compare with anybody else. The aim is to compare with where you were just before. So if you go from having never run or hardly ever run and you've done 1 kilometer, that's huge progress. And this leads us to the next point regarding confidence. Actions and baby steps for sure, but tracking your progress, because otherwise your brain will see some evidence, but it will also think, but sometimes it didn't work out. And that's why I started putting in place this tracking system in my business, where I track every single win and every single progress. And I have it all in this WhatsApp that I send to myself with screenshots and comments and tiny little things, because I want to see that things are progressing. Because when you don't see any progress, you get less dopamine in your brain, you feel more discouraged, and your confidence starts to diminish because you're not seeing any progress. So track each step, each reward, each action that you're doing to see and to prove to your brain, this is working out. I am putting in the reps, I am progressing, and I am becoming more confident as a result of all these actions. So here were the 3 core points on confidence. The first one is, it's totally an illusion to believe that confidence is innate. Confidence is an outcome of feeling that you are taking action and progressing and building that self-trust. The second core point is, take action. Do things towards your goals and ambitions, even though they're hard, even though they're scary, because each small action builds that self-trust. Your job is to seek that evidence and prove to your brain and to yourself that you are perfectly capable of doing it, that you are perfectly capable of progressing and taking those actions and taking those big, bold moves. But for that to happen, you need to actually do it so that your brain starts to believe it. Confident people aren't born confident, they're made confident, and they're made confident because they're the ones who put in the work and put in the reps to be able to believe in themselves and to show to themselves that they're capable of doing it. And the last core point is, track your progress. On this journey with these ups and downs, you will have doubts, you will have fluctuation. There'll be moments where you'll put in question what you're doing and if you're even progressing at all. And as you have tracked all the different actions you've taken, all the milestones you've achieved, even the smallest things, this will help you to get a feeling of progress, and this will build that confidence and self-trust. I hope this has been useful for you. Put in the comments any questions regarding this concept of confidence. It's not innate, it's something you build, and you can build it any time now, every single day. Just that small step, whether it's physically, going to the gym, doing that 5-10 minute workout to begin with, and then building it up physically, or within the business or the career, or within your personal life, just doing that slight action outside your comfort zone, and expect it to be uncomfortable. It's normal that it's uncomfortable. Elizabeth Gilbert always says that she takes fear by her side in the driver's seat when she writes her novels, because she doesn't expect fear to go away. Fear doesn't disappear, and if you're waiting for fear to go away before you start, you'll wait a long time. Fear is always going to be there, and part of the journey of building confidence is to just know fear's by my side, that's okay, I'm human, and I will do the actions anyway. And as I do them, the fear actually diminished because it realizes you're still alive and you survived that keynote on stage and you came out the other side, therefore it can be done again, and you overcome the fear that way. But it's normal that it's there, and it's normal that it's uncomfortable. As I said, confidence is the mastery of discomfort. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, I'm Katie, high performance and conscious leadership coach, speaker, and podcast host. And if you're new, please subscribe, leave a comment, leave a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and see you in the next episode.